intend that any recording will be to the benefit of us who are present and not the system.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So
Permission denied.
there's the idea of the monad, which is like the circle with the dot in the middle, which represents wholeness. And so
Yep.
if we're in a system that is inverted, then that means that would be the one eye, and that's why you see the one eye everywhere because it looks like an eye. It's the all-seeing eye, the one-eyed God. And so what they did was they split the monad, and that when they split us, so you have your lower self and your higher self. Well, when you put that on its side, I told Jared it looks like a Pokemon ball, which the phrase for that is "got to catch them all." And took that, when I took that further, it gave me this diagram. And so that's the duality, the timeline spirals, the higher self and the lower self, the good versus the evil, the plane that we're on. The 9 is the upward spiral, the 6 is the downward spiral. That's why I drew that there in the middle. You can see the 6 and the 9 there because they want you to choose a path. That's the two choices, which is the dark versus the false light, the crisp versus the fatal E, the red versus blue, black and white, all that. And so that's the Freemasonic thing that we've seen. Looks like a CD. So you have your copy above and your inversion below, which you can overlay on top of that as well. When you do that, it gives you the squaring
the circle. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Vitruvian.
Yep. Vitruvian man nailed to a cross. We have nails on our feet and our hands, just like the character Jesus.
Yeah.
And so when I look at a figure 8 sideways, which represents their infinite system, their infinity, you got your lower and your higher. Well, that's your 6 and your 9. And when you combine the 6 and the 9, like I did there, it kind of looks like a weird figure 8. This right here, that center point is the same as this one. And that is the switching of the poles, the pole shift. Because what I think is happening is our lower self, which is where we're at right now, is in tandem working with our higher selves to get us to that neutral 0 point energy mark. And that's when he and I went into the idea of this is really crappy drawing, but bear with me. So this is figure 8. So Jared 1, which is the Jared we know, is awoken here. He's like, this isn't real. This isn't right. This is wrong. That triggers, just like through quantum entanglement, Jared 2 over there to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. So this would be the non-pod physical, and this would be the pod virtual, hypnotized version. And so they're both trying to get out. They're both trying to reconnect. And that is we hear in the New Age circles, the twin flame, divine union, divine counterpart. Well, that part we're searching for is ourselves, but our princess is not in this castle, meaning we can't see them. Our perception here, we have to have faith and seek the true to get out. And when that reset point happens is when that will occur, which is what I am terming their event. And then we got on to the thoughts of the 144. Well, I see 144 all the time. So knowing that I see 144 here, then my higher self, I guess, would be seeing 441. And so when you look at those together and you look at the ways you can make that number appear, there's the mirror. And what's the center point? Well, the center point would be this. And when you do that, we know 4 represents astral. We know it represents the cube. So then you got 414 right here. Well, that means I'm getting my lower and my higher self out of here because we got a cube on the left, a cube on the right, and that one in the middle is the way out, which goes same thing with this. The red versus the blue, the 144, 441, no pod. It's the same thing. It's the center point, which is the reset. I hope I covered this easily. It's a lot of concepts in one, but because we are returning, those of us who are this aware and this awake and hoping for like the event to hit. We're sitting here suffering, waiting. Well,
No, we got to make it happen.
yeah, we're going to. There's no not at this point. It's just a matter of enough of us wanting that and getting that into the collective awakened consciousness to make it happen. It's the same way when you look at Anne-Marie's drawings of the spark, then being plugged up to a light body, so to speak, and then the light body being mirrored down here to the virtuals. The subconscious, which is the higher, which is the free flowing, free forming, unknown higher self, and then down here, the conscious is like, okay, well, this is that. I'm aware of this. That's the lower, and we're trying to merge them back together to exit this whole thing. And the whole pod idea, I looked at it like this, because in my dream state, I was in a pod. There was no cords, there was nothing, but it did feel like there was I could see a film strip in front of me, like one of those curved plasma TVs, and it twisted on itself, creating like a like a figure.
They call it a Moebius strip too.
That's it. A Mobius strip. Yep. And when I took it off, I went into a completely different place, like on a ship with other people who had taken it off and so forth. And so I do think
Okay.
that that's what's happening. I really
Yeah,
do.
absolutely. And all these models of how the Earth is flat and round and all of that. There's that sphere that showed up. I can't remember, but it looks like a gyroscope, but it's a sphere, and it's I'll find the links and I'll post them. I guess in my YouTube.
It would make
But
sense to me if we are in a holographic inverted mirror duality time matrix, that all the globe, the ball, the flat, the crater, the holographic, the many
yeah,
worlds,
they
they're
all
all
fit.
they all fit in this.
Yes.
Every
Yeah.
single one of them. And so that's another key we recognize as we come into wholeness or back into wholeness.
One of the things I was thinking of is you mentioned like the reset as the idea there may be a certain point in, I guess, the timeline while we're here that something happens and we're allowed to get out or we find a way out. But I was thinking with the model of the cube there and the little guy that's in the pod and then the mirror between him and the virtuals here, and you had the experience you said of waking up in a pod like in the last week. So I'm wondering if because I view this place that we're in now as some kind of mirror dimension, right? And
Oh yeah, definitely.
maybe yeah, like the Matrix One, he took the red pill, which is the truth or whatever. They literally told you what it did. He said what was the red pill for, and Morpheus said it was to interrupt the input-output carrier signal so they could more easily pinpoint his location. Well, maybe that red pill wasn't what the red pill was. Maybe it was the mirror when he put his finger in the mirror and it went over his arm. That was the
Well,
real red pill. He
yeah.
inverted his matrix and got out on the other side. So somewhere in between the reset awakening point and us getting back to a quote-unquote body in a pod, if that is real, we have to invert the inversion or something with some kind of mirror technology or like even within our own mind. I don't know what it looks like or how it's done, but I would think logically we would have to do that, you know? Makes sense
Yeah.
to me.
Okay, I need to talk about the Matrix 1 versus the Matrix 4. When they get sucked back into reality or back to the ship, right? They're doing it over the phone line. In the fourth movie, that chick had to come and grab him through the mercury wall and physically take him across. They couldn't do it over the phone lines, and so like it's the same idea there. Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, W. It's
And then
that higher self, that
Anna Marie talking about the mercury wall at the edge.
exactly.
Yeah.
It all correlates, every bit of
Yeah.
it. So I was just posting a picture. We had mentioned earlier about the tree of knowledge of good and evil. In that first picture, you'll see it kind of there on the right side of the picture of the tree going up and the tree going down, which is the same thing as the splitting of the atom, which is the same thing as duality. positive, negative, higher self, lower self. We are in the rabbit holes, etc., etc. And then that's why the
This
whole
is
phrase of the guy who bit the apple saw the two seeds. Well, that was the splitting. That was the key with that. And you can see it in tomatoes, you can see it in oranges, apples, etc. The whole place is built on a splitting of an
and
atom.
and the pomegranate seeds down in hell,
Yep,
or
yep,
Hades, or with Persephone and the Taurus and the owl. All of
yes.
these, yeah, the whole energetic back and forth of the electrical universe we habitate.
And so that I posted the tesseract that was made of mirrors, which is hopefully you guys can see this one. The hypercube. It's a tesseract made of mirrors, and so it's going to
Yeah.
be as if it's an infinite, which is it's actually infinite. It's in a finite system, so it's a false infinity, false eternal. How we got here, I think curiosity, wanting to help. It's all the things they tell us that we brought us here. A war, I mean, a salvage mission, a rescue mission. It's all the same thing when you really think about it. And I think that's the true great awakening, is to realizing the divine connection, remembrance. I guess union is the best word, but anyway, I'll digress. It's just
Diabolical.
it is diabolical, and it's the whole breathing in, breathing out. And the breathing in is the collection. The breathing out is the dispersion or fragmentation. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Why do we even need to do that? I think we come from a place, almost know we come from a place we don't need to eat, sleep, drink, feed. We come from a place of each of us are individually whole, which would mean we don't come from a place of lack. Like I need money, I need sex, I need drugs, rock and roll, blah, blah, blah. And in that place, if DW and Jared and I were all hanging out and we didn't lack anything, then we could truly create something new and wonderful and great, because we're not needing to feed on anything. And that blows my mind away. Like our perception here won't allow us to go that far.
Right, but curiosity killed the cat, and then we got into some rhythm.
Yeah, I think a signal was put out by Yaldabaoth or Sophia or someone, like the Dolores Cannon says, we came here to help in volunteer stages, like 3 waves or whatever. Some of that's true. We didn't all come here for the same reason. Does that make sense? You wouldn't know that there's lack. Exactly. Because everything is in wholeness. There would be no lack that would need to be taking place. It's almost as if in that place of wholeness, one of us felt like okay, so we're in classrooms and we are the kids that are weird here. Well, reverse that, in the place of wholeness, there was like a kid that felt like he was not cool enough and decided to make this whole thing, which is just the same story of Ready Player One. The kid playing his video game created his own universe and put everybody into it. It's the same thing. It's almost like we were mean to somebody who didn't get what we got. I don't know. And we're trying to help them out. You can look at it in a multitude of ways, but that's kind of how I see it, is one of us felt for the first time lack, and then this is the result of them feeling that new emotion. And
It attracted somebody who wanted to eat that.
Right. It said, "Hey, I built this game. Come play with me."
Like blood in the water for sharks.
Yeah, totally. And when we tried to help them fix it or create it or bring life to it, it's all the same thing. We tried to help, basically.
Yeah.
And that got us entrapped in it.
Yeah. And the shark had a cloning center.
Possibly unbeknownst to the quote-unquote creator of it. It didn't realize what it was missing. And what it was missing was something that it has had all the time.
Yeah.
I think we were innocent We were just
I
innocent and pure.
I agree. I agree.
We
I like
didn't
that
know
word.
we didn't know malice.
I totally agree with that.
We were pure, so we didn't know that we were going to be deceived.
See, it's funny you say the word innocence because there's this song that I truly love, and it's called "Return to Innocence." It's like this Indian song, and I always think that that's what we're doing. We're returning to our innocence through the false ego. Why is the name showing versus my channel? I don't know. You can click on your name under participants and rename yourself. Cat. I can actually rename you.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm sorry. Who? What is the name of the host here?
My name's
Brad.
Brandon. Yeah.
It's what?
Brandon.
Oh, Brandon. Okay. So I was reading that book that you recommended.
Yeah.
Can you stand the truth or something like that? Or
Uh-huh.
can you handle the truth or something like that? Wow. It's not an easy book, but
No, not at all.
no, but it really piqued my interest. So I'm reading it, but I think it says it has like 700 over 700 pages. So
Yeah, like
it's not a
100 and
quick
something.
book to read. Yeah.
Which book is it?
Can you stand the truth? The history or story of man's imprisonment.
Anyway, the author has done. She did uh, research for like 35 years before she wrote this book, I think. And I went
Yeah.
into her website too. Excellent website. But I wanted to point out that she said something in the book that was very interesting to me. It was about regarding emotions. So apparently, in our celestial self, and I'm using that word. I like that word actually, celestial. We don't really have emotions like we have emotions here. So here, everything is, I guess, because it was meant to be like that. They did that to us. So we either feel all these different emotions: anger, hate, love. And I just found that interesting because I thought that was part of the soul, that our
I think it
soul is the
is.
one that feels emotions.
No, there's an emotional body that's wrapped around us too. I don't. Yeah, I think what she's saying is more truer-ish. I don't better direction. I don't know. Emotions are also part of the game here, like your third eye. It's a distortion or a reflection of the truth.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it goes back to one of the NDE stories. I was very, very interested in NDE stories um, for a while because my mom died, and I just was seeking to find out if she was okay. I was devastated that she passed away, and then I just got into NDEs, and in one of the NDEs that not one, but many of them, when they come out of their body and they're looking down, they feel neutral. They don't feel panic or fear or emotion, any kind of emotion. They're like, why is everybody upset? I'm okay. And they're just, and one of them, she was actually examining her body before she came out of her body. And she said, oh, I'm dying. And there was no emotion, no dread, no fear. So I guess that's what she was referring to. When we are in our celestial beings, we don't feel that emotions like we feel here in this physicality. I just found that very interesting. I don't know what you guys have on that.
I mean, the emotional state is tied to the physical, meaning if I'm cold, it's going to generate an emotion. If I'm hot, it's going to generate a different emotion. And so I think the book is amazing. There are some things that I don't agree with, but there's a lot that I do agree with. And she does, like you said, she does an excellent job of correlating all these scripts or books from throughout history. And she is a Greek woman, heavily targeted, and thus you won't find much of her on YouTube at all.
What do you disagree with?
Um, there's a few things. The whole 40 days, 3 days of darkness, those kind of things. I don't see it that way. I see it in a different light. I think we can almost get past like the life review and things like that if you have a certain level of awareness. Celestial not having emotions means they're detached from the ability or the need for emotions. And I, at least for me, I don't not how should I say this? I like to feel emotions. I like to know when something's wrong. Like if I see somebody hurting or being misused by another, that hurts me, and I want to seek retribution for that individual or for my if that individual is myself. I don't like that happening to anyone. So I think from the celestial point, there's even a detachment, and that detachment is not needed. Like I know right from wrong, and if I see somebody get punched, I immediately want to interject and say, "This isn't the way. This isn't something that should be allowed."
Isn't that
Okay,
the path in
but
you?
you're also arguing from a point of view of we're in the physical and there is duality, and you do feel hot and cold.
Yeah,
Whereas apart from that, we have no way of just what is it? Yeah, distancing ourselves from that. That's an abstract thought to us.
it
So
is.
emotion could be neutrality, right? Being
Well,
Yeah,
split in
why
two.
that's why these people that come out of their body, they feel like that. They're like,
Yeah, yeah.
why are you so upset? There's nothing wrong with me. They're not feeling that
it,
emotion of detachment. It's neutral. It's like one of them said, when you're here, you're looking at things. You don't look at things 365. Am I saying that? 300, or like, in a full circle. When you're in your wholeness, you're looking at everything in a whole. So you're not just looking at, oh, I'm dying. I'm hurt. So it is a physicality. It is a physical when you're here. But I think when you detach from your body, there's not that physical emotion. That's what I think. It's maybe it's not emotion. We're calling it an emotion because we're in a physical world, or in a realm, and it's emotion. But when you're in your complete wholeness or being, maybe it's not emotion. But she's calling it emotion, obviously, so that the reader can understand, so that we can understand what emotions is, because we understand that's the only way we can understand how we feel, emotions or feelings, right?
yeah.
What I would put to you is maybe if if we actually do exist when these bodies die and we're still conscious, which I assume is true from metaphysical experiences, then the consciousness we would be existing at that point without this body would somehow function not based on biochemicals. So there wouldn't be chemistry in a brain, or if there was, it wouldn't be a physical chemistry. It would be something like astral or etheric or some other, maybe like you're saying, celestial chemistry, something else. Maybe it's just not as primitive or as yeah, I don't know,
Heavy.
primitive. Yeah, so dense of a chemical reaction for the emotion. So, you leave the body and you're like, oh, I still feel emotion, but I don't really care about those human emotions. That was just my body, and the people there were judging stuff, and I feel better now. I'm more free or whatever. So maybe it's a different type of consciousness.
Yeah, in a book by Heinlein, Robert Heinlein, Stranger in a Strange Land, the Martians were much more advanced than Earth. They sent down this guy, but they were talking about the Martians had an emotion that was so black, so dark, so hate-filled that all we could describe it of was a mild distaste.
Oh yeah.
So
It,
yeah, everything's ironical. It's, the irony wouldn't be what it is. Both things at once. The hate and the love both at once. They cancel each other out in terms of energy, in terms of physicality, but yeah, maybe up at the celestial level, it's just, a beautiful
Neutral.
pattern. A beautiful pattern.
Right. And I don't think
Yeah.
you could say neutral. You really can't describe where
Yeah.
we're from because there's no opposite. There's no good. There's no
Well, we
duality at
also have
all.
this, yeah, and we have a ceiling that we can't get through to feel that or not feel that.
What do you mean?
Oh, well, the fact, because we're condensed down to physical, we can't experience the higher
Right,
dimensions
right.
in that
That's
sense.
true.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we're
Yes, yes, you're
limited,
right. You're right.
and
And so
that's
we don't
and that's
we
the
don't know how to
excuse.
describe that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
exactly. Um, but I guess it's difficult for us as humans to understand that,
yeah,
to understand that there is that everything is unity, that there is no split or division. It's inconceivable for the human mind to understand that.
yeah. And so
But
we're
that
looking for what Brandon calls the ineffable beyond, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the ineffable oneness. Mother, father, pattern, matter into one. And everything here is based on splits. Male, female, black, white, red, blue, you know, positive,
Yeah,
negative. It's all that way. Um, but back to real quickly the emotions. It's almost as if I'm a being of wholeness, or as she calls it, celestial man, and I see another like myself that is being um some okay, let's pretend there's three of us. There's three monads, and I see one monad taking advantage of another monad by confusing it, hypnotizing it, grape, all those things, making it suffer. I then, as that other monad, that third party, the observer, do I interject? Do I try and separate? Do I view that from a neutrality standpoint and just let it continue? I don't know that that is something that is allowed where we come from, which would be infringing one's own desires based on lack towards another's own free will. That's something that's not allowed. But here it is allowed, which is why there's no karma. And I get emotions are tied to the physical, but I still think that in the celestial state, you will realize or be able to see when something is being done wrong to another and feel the need to act. And maybe that's part of why we're here, is to not act on that. Because if we're being authentic, then I would never hurt another. I would never take advantage, lie, steal, grape, all those things to another being, be it artificial or not. That's not how we operate. We don't do that. And I don't know if we can call that neutrality. And that's kind of where I'm still trying to figure that
well,
out.
it just sounds like sound ethics to me, but well,
Well,
You
I
know,
think
like
it's the ego that makes
yeah.
us do that, right?
Oh,
The
absolutely.
parasitic ego, the
it
parasitic
is the
ego,
parasitic ego that makes us do that. I completely
yeah,
agree with that.
that makes us be mean, evil, and greedy, and me, which is not really us. It's been implanted in us.
And so Mia, that makes me think that those who are doing those things are not from where we're at. And so I'm trying to go to your point, but and expand upon it. Meaning, when we see those things happen, are we looking at those two beings, that one being taken advantage of, the other one taking advantage of? Are we looking at those as true beings as ourselves through the wholeness, the unity, and all that, or are we looking at it as they are part of this illusionary world, that neither of those two things exist, but they do exist here only to make us, as the celestial man, have a reaction and respond to that duality, because I could see it that way too.
Well, I think we all have been mean at some point or another to somebody, right? Whether we
Oh
did it,
yeah.
whether we did it intentionally or not. So we have done that. So I can't say that when I did that, I was fully awake and aware, and I wasn't aware of any of the things that I'm speaking about now. So you could say yes, they're not true celestial beings, or you could say they're asleep. They're still asleep, and they're still uh, embracing, for lack of a better word, their ego, and they don't know any better.
Their false ego. They're living in that.
They don't know any better yet. They don't know. They don't know the difference. Like Jesus said, forgive them for they do not know what they do. I mean, literally, they didn't. Like he's saying, they don't know what they're doing because they're so ignorant of who they are, or if they are celestial beings. That this is not who they are.
They're walking literally hypnotized into something that has been presented to them to be like that, when they're not living in authenticity. Like that makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, that's why he called them walking tombs. They're dead.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, I believe I've been dead for a long time in this body. In this body, I've been dead, and each time I'm aware of something else, it's like I have like multiple emotions, depressing, and then at the same time I feel free, and then I feel sad, and then I feel like sad in the sense of, oh my God, I've been fooled. And I feel angry, but then I feel free, and I feel, wow, I'm not this person. I don't belong here. Now I understand why I always question, why is there so much suffering? Why? This can't be it. I wasn't born for this. People can't be born just to come here and suffer, and just suffer and struggle, and there's got to be more than this. So when I find out more things and I'm aware, I feel a little more liberated.
I agree with that. The awareness is key. If I'm aware of the soul trap, and if I'm aware of duality, and if I'm aware of I don't fit in here, then that's just more validation that I'm going back to where the true unity of wholeness is. Some people call it oneness. I don't subscribe to the we are one, like we're one conscious. That sounds like Borg and Hive programming, but like meaning like DW is one whole being, celestial man that doesn't lack anything, and so he doesn't need to infringe upon my will. That's the oneness that I picture. The like we are all individual onenesses, I guess, for lack of a better term, is how I see it. But to your point,
I think we all came from one thing. We have been delineated into a sovereign being, and that's the uniqueness that gives me an ego, that gives me a selfishness, but it also gives me a chance to give, right, in my own way. So,
yep,
yeah, I'm constantly being, amazed at the paradoxes everywhere. And whenever I feel that, that's actually a good feeling of paradox, to understand both sides of it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I just don't have the vocabulary currently to be able to describe.
So oneness.
Yeah, exactly.
Particles
words are a construct of the matrix.
It's like we're oneness, because I agree with the point of we came from one place or one. See, I can't even think of a word.
Like source or
I don't like the word source just because it sounds like
Yeah.
Saurus, like Dinosaurus, or like computer code even. And
Um,
I just see all those people as like so fragmented they can't get back. Which is why I hope this thing shuts
I
down
mean, I
and
like
those
unity. Unity is a good word.
it's like a unity consciousness. Like we all come from a place of mother father, but
Right.
we are all individual wholeness, oneness in each. Forgive me, guys. I just try and come up with words. There's somebody that said the word univine. Her name's Raven, so I gotta give her credit. But it's instead of divine, meaning to split, divine, die meaning two. It's almost like it is a univine system, like where we come from. Like Jared's a univine individual or wholeness or a being of himself that is oneness, but that oneness is part of a greater oneness that we can't perceive because of the realm we're in.
Well,
A
it's
word
like,
or a term I would use would be individuated unit of consciousness, to steal from Tom Campbell's book. I don't agree with everything he teaches, but
Right.
it's like D-Dub said in the model that I guess, because I don't really know exactly how the monad model works, but if the monad was one thing originally, and then it created each of us with our own sovereignty. So, like, if you go back out of this life and you end up somewhere and you're not in a form, what you could go in and out of form, I guess, you still have your sovereignty. It's not so if there's any like blending or whatever, you're still going to be sovereign. That's what I would hope. I don't ever want to lose my sovereignty. That's like one of my biggest fears. So the Borg stuff and like the hive mind stuff, I never really felt that was correct because I don't want to lose sovereignty. I declare my sovereignty every day, and like Neo did, I say no to the mind control. I say no to the little electrical archon parasites or whatever these things are that try to interject thoughts in my mind all the time, whether it's technology, whatever it is. I notice it and I just put my hands up, and it's like, no, dude, like I want to be sovereign. I am sovereign. I want to be liberated. I want to be free. I don't accept the mind control. I never consented. I don't consent now. I'm never going to consent. And when I leave here, and if I still am conscious after this body's gone, I want to be sovereign still. So that's like I said, one of my fears would be just getting morphed into a ball of something and then not being sovereign anymore. Because it's like, then I guess you just disappear.
Absolutely. What did Mel Brooks say in History of the World Part 1? It's good to be king.
Spot on. So I raise the question: where do we go from here? Do we wait? Do we? What do you
Well,
guys
well,
feel that we?
well, there's an amount of waiting we're going to have to do, but we're going to have to fill our time constructively in between and support each other. And if anyone has stuff that they want to do, maybe they should put that out and we can try and help in any way we can.
I like that. It's almost like building a community without building a community or a quote unquote
Yeah.
cult.
I
We
say
can be
work.
our own little metaverse on the
I say
side.
work. Yeah, work to try to find that mirror or mirror door out of here, back to either the self that's in a pod or through that Mercury wall, if that's the mirror. Theoretically, you wouldn't have to wait until a given time, like a reset moment. Theoretically, you could leave whenever if you actually found the way out. There should
Yeah.
be a way, but don't ask me how. I haven't figured that out yet. I'd already be gone years ago. I've tried. I keep
I
trying, but I
I
don't know.
think
I can't do it
between
yet.
you, I think between you and Anna Marie Uber, you've got like a big oneness. You have the physical link, and she has the link to the arm on the mirror, right? And we have to uh, work towards that all being. I don't know. We will fill our lack with what other people have as long as we're offering it and not taking it, right?
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. It's almost like the salvage mission. Like we are here to help the ones who want help and who seek more than this duality.
Your
So
mission, should you choose to accept it.
the mission impossible. And I just don't come at it from the way of writing books. Like I almost feel like I'm supposed to be mobile to a degree. Like I should be able to pick up my stuff and go and find others like us in communities and try and help them if they want it. But I'm not sure kind of what to do next for myself.
Hey, Brandon, I've got two things to mention.
Yeah.
One thing is, like 10 minutes ago, you mentioned about the life review, and I just wanted to say something. It's like, I've thought about this. It's like, if something approaches me, if I'm still alive consciously after the body dies, and it's like any kind of attempt to do a life review, I don't accept that. I'm not gonna review this life. I'm not interested because
There's no need.
the mind control technology that's been used since before this body was ever born here in 88. Remote neuromonitoring was patented in 74. They've had 50 years to perfect it. That's only one type of mind control. Yeah, not everybody believes it, but the patents are there. I'm pretty sure they would have built it, and there's evidence that they've been using it. But and the other thing is, have you talked to anybody other than me about the unpredictability idea and Aaron Valenti, or do you not want to talk on that about that on this one for another one maybe?
No, I mean we can discuss it. I just think that the act of randomness in a self-correcting system universe ran by AI is the way to do it. Not it's like me texting 20 people, hey, we're going to have a chat today. Well, the computer system that is operating is going to read that and be able to maintain that. But if we all do random acts of motions, whatever you want to call it, I see that as the way out because if you have enough people doing that, okay, let me back up. Their motto is order out of chaos, right? Okay, well, to a person who doesn't feel very good about all the chaoticness that we truly are, meaning within the wholeness that we truly are, we go from here to there, have this experience, do that, and it's not going to make sense to them. So what they would do is they would try and fragment it. They would put it in zeros and ones to try and understand why it is the way it is. So if we can have enough people that act randomly, I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to take this walk on this road that I've never been down. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Well, the system is going to get overloaded. And I think the system has a cap to it. So it can't. This is why you see like people that have Mandela effects. The unpredictable behavior it doesn't like that. And so it wants to have order. Where we come from, there's no hierarchy, there's no order. We do what we want when we want, and we do it with a certain unity of knowing who each individual is. And if we can break free from, I got to go to these 10 places today, 20 places tomorrow, whatever. Well, if we do those consecutively, the system will recognize that and be able to script us in that 10 or 20 things that we were going to do in that given day. So if we break from that, then okay, another example, I was in North Carolina and I went to a rest stop randomly on a Monday. And I went to the men's room. It was on the left. I specifically remember the stalls, the people that were in there, how it was all laid out. Well, I went back 2 days later, which was kind of not normal even so. And the restroom that was the men's was completely on the right side of the complex. And I'm like, why would they switch that? Like I saw no construction and I saw no like workers. It was just completely swapped. And that's kind of an idea I'm talking about. When people see these Mandela effects, like they'll see like birds like that are still in the air or planes that aren't moving or those kind of things, it's because they're going off of the beaten path. They're expressing the randomization that we carry.
I see it in a way like I kind of think for a long time now. I think that I call it the machine, the AI, artificial AI, whatever it is that operates, projects, and balances the algorithms of input output into this matrix between us we put a energy into the system with every thought, action, movement, and thing we do. We put energy in to the matrix, and then the AI responds and tries to balance everything back out by putting an output back into the matrix around us. You can notice this in real time if you haven't
Okay.
noticed it yet by going outside on a given day and started to do martial arts or qigong or energy work or meditation or something, and start to change the inputs into your environment around you, and then you'll notice like a chainsaw will start up next to you, or planes will start flying directly over you. People will start getting loud around you because the codes are getting put back out through the AI to rebalance the algorithm, right? And so going on that model, this is just by experience. I'm not saying I know exactly how it operates. I'm just, this is what I've noticed over the years. So on that model, it seems that this artificial intelligence or whatever projects and runs this place basically knows where we're going to be to some point in time, based on the timeline that it's projecting we're going to keep going on. Predictable behavior, precognitive technology. But if you start doing meaningful randomness, I would say, or meaningful unpredictability, not just like random nonsense, but like D-Dub said, meaningful, change it up and do things that are out of the ordinary. And you keep doing that within a few hours or days of consistently doing that, you're going to be at a place on the AI's projected timeline for where it's projecting you to be in time and space. It can't keep up with where it's trying to predict you to be. You're going to get off the map, and it's going to make it, like you said, it's going to use too much resources if a couple thousand or 10,000 real beings or whatever did that all at once for several days and weeks. I think this place would glitch out even more. It would like the RAM would start buffering or whatever. It would get all weird more than it is already. It makes sense logically.
Makes
That's
sense
when
to
I
me.
You
that's
know
when I
what?
go into the idea of Mandela effects. Like everybody's like, well, what's the true meaning of this? And I'm going to draw a quick picture here, so just forgive me, guys. If you have a being of wholeness and he realizes he's fractured, if he is in all these different timelines and he goes back to wholeness, and when he does that through death or whatever, and he reclaims his, he's like, hey, this is copyright. You're taking advantage. I have no permission, no consent. I reclaim everything you've taken from me tenfold. So what if that whole being was the one who created, Shazam and the monocle? And when he left and took back his power and his creative ability, the system, the autocorrect system, said, "Oh, we got to fix this so nobody else notices." So we do this. We change all the media. We change the Bible. We change A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. That's how I see the Mandela effect happening, and that then validates to me that people are actually getting out and reclaiming their power, taking back their sovereignty, calling these things out on copyright laws and karmic laws that they have not been abiding by through an AI system. That's how I see Mandela effects. I hope that makes sense to you guys.
Well, they haven't given us full disclosure.
I don't know that they will.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is they've broken every law. If there
Oh
is
yeah,
if they have, supposedly they follow laws too, because there's supposed to be laws everywhere. They've broken every law.
yes,
So
I agree.
the other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know who was speaking before about the randomness, but I wanted to mention something that happened with my phone, and AI took over it. And I don't know if this has happened to any of you. So I was sending a text to a friend, and I think she responded, and I happened to look at it to see what her response was, and I went back to my text, and my text was totally different. It wasn't different in the sense of it said the same thing, but the words were like all in different places, and the way it was worded was totally different. And I looked at it and I said, wait a second, I didn't text this. This is totally different than what I text. And I was literally freaking out. I go, wait a minute, am I losing my mind here? I said, am I in the twilight zone? Because I did not text this. it was anyway.
Years
So
ago, years ago, I would comment on people's YouTube videos, and I'd go to read the comment to make sure it posted. And for like, there was like a 1 month period. This is like 7 or 8 years ago, where I'd go to read the comments that I posted, and they wouldn't be what I posted. They'd be completely different words,
Yeah.
some other dialogue that I didn't say. And I'm like flipping out. I'm like, whoa, dude, I'm getting hacked. Like, that's not what I said. Oh my God. And just like, it blew my mind, dude.
That's
that
what I
was
was talking about today.
that's exactly what happened. And so I told my husband, I said, you don't know what just happened. I said, I'm I I feel like stupid not that I didn't take a screen print of it, because when I went back, it was back to the original text that I had sent.
Right. And then it goes back to normal again. So there's no evidence. That's the worst
Yes,
part. Yeah,
exactly,
exactly.
exactly. And I
Yeah.
didn't take a screen print of it. And
Gaslighting,
I
man.
was
Gaslighting.
like, anyway,
Gaslighting.
so my husband said, AI is taking over your phone. And because I don't know if you guys I have an Android, and it knows like the words that I've used. So it kind of, the words come up for me to use. And if I feel lazy, I'll just like click on the word so that it completes my sentence.
Autocorrect.
So, so my husband, yeah. So my husband said, you have to trick it. It's getting to know you. So you have to change. Don't use that. And he said, go into different sites that you normally don't go to, because
Absolutely.
the phone is AI. It's like it's getting to know you.
If you can find what you're looking for with a Google search right away, you're not doing it right.
So true.
So
So true.
anyway, I guess that's
Because it
something like
knows you too
random
well
that you're
then.
talking about.
If you're not mad at your AI, you're training it too well.
So is that what you're talking about randomly? You do things differently, not
Yeah, like let's say that on a Monday
trick the algorithm.
yeah, like on a Monday you eat at the five same places. You either bring your lunch, you go to McDonald's, you go to Burger King, you go out to a sushi place, and you go to a, I don't know, pizza place. Well, stop doing those five things on a Monday. Like look at, it's like a bank statement. Like if the bank statement sees all that you're doing through a month's period, it'll be able to track and script where you're going to go on that Monday you got paid, or so forth. It's going to be able to dictate where you're going to head. So if you start doing random things like they say in AA, I think it is, doing random acts of kindness. Well, it's like, what if you just did random acts of kindness all the time? Like every time you saw somebody needing something, you just did it, or you just did what you wanted to do all the time. You started doing random things that you don't normally do out of the scope that you have been doing them for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. It's going to drain so much power that this place would literally collapse because it can't keep up.
Yeah, it would project personal Mandela effects into your own experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Does
I
that make
used
sense,
to get
Maya?
I used to get upset about being misunderstood. Now I revel in it.
Yeah, you're doing something right.
I
So
kept
going
telling
back to
everyone, I'm
the
not that deep. I'm pretty shallow. I'm not that deep. You can read me like a book if you want to. And they just shake their head and say, no, 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 man.
so can we go back to the life review or whatever? So like when we leave, like if I exit out of here, no, not out of here, out of my body, is there like different places that we're gonna encounter before I can like exit out of here? Like, is there different places or dimensions, whatever you want to call them?
Yeah,
That
well, I hear
you
if you
know,
get a life review, you've gone too far. You've already been zapped.
There's no
meaning
reason for
what?
you to do a life review. There's absolutely no reason because you've lived it, and that it ends there.
So
So
one more thing I'll say about life review is it's like another thing I've never heard anybody on these NDE accounts mention is like telling the people that are supposedly judging the life that this other person just had, it's like to those beings, I would be like, how can you tell me something I did was right or wrong? You weren't in my body. You didn't have the life experience I had. Who are you to tell me anything? You see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense, man. It
Right.
just
And
Well,
doesn't
they're
at
not
all.
actually
It's
judging
not
them.
logical. Huh?
They're not
well, they're
judging them. They're just
no,
telling
okay.
them this is what you did and this is how, this is not a judgment. It's just a review of what you did and how you
Well,
affected other people.
in that case, I wonder if it would be even because he said, like you said, if you're getting a life review, you've gone too far. That's possible, but would you even want to review your life, or would you just want to go on and see what else exists in the I don't know, the cosmos or some other place, you know, or we'll try to wake up in a pod if that's what's happening. I don't know.
I the way I see that is okay. If I exit and I'm presented with a life review, I'm going to say, who are you to judge me? And if you feel like you can judge me, why don't you live it better given the exact tools, awareness, knowledge, everything that I was not given? Would you do better? And if you think so, then that's on you for not giving me that information. It's like why does God keep himself hidden? Or why does God do this? It's all BS. If they want to present a life review, call them out and say, I lived my life. I've reviewed it. I've gone within. And back to your point about going out of body, I don't think that that's the way. I truly don't. Like through the astral or the etheric, that's one of the few things that Jesus said that always, the character Jesus always says in the Bible is go within. Okay, well, if I'm going within, I'm not going outside of myself. If I'm going within, meaning um, the kingdom of heaven is not out there; it's within, meaning that you cannot judge me for something I was unaware of or never told about. It's just it to me. It makes no sense as to do a life review.
So do
Like
you think that the NDE is a could
could be what, Cat?
be planted memory? Because I never had
Okay, yeah. So
NDE experience, but I never got any life review. Nobody was there to meet me. Maybe because I don't have, any connections to. I'm not religious. I don't believe in Jesus or any kind of entity outside myself.
okay,
I
let me
don't
let
have
me
any
add
strong
something.
attachment to any relatives or anything.
So think about it like this: if you created something like an NPC or a bot or AI, and it did all this bad stuff, and you were the judgment and juror of its existence, and it died and came to you, and you said you didn't do this right. You need to review these things before you can become what I am, whatever. It makes sense that the NDEs, at least the ones I've seen, it seems like the ones that are coming back and saying the things they're saying are I hate to say it, but they're NPCs. It's almost like NDEs only happen to NPCs, whereas true beings exit. Like I met Jesus, I had no choice.
That they're talking about.
What's that, Cat?
I didn't have any of the experiences that they
Yeah,
talk of.
me either.
It's probably because you're real and they can't maybe it doesn't work the same way for like some different quantifiably different aspect to the consciousness of the being. I mean, one thing I'll say for sure though in my experience is that these so-called astral planes or these places are very labyrinth-esque. They're illusionary a lot. So be careful, you know.
Yeah, I think that the NPCs go through NDEs and they've then present them to us as if we have to go through them. I don't think it's
It's like
like
a download to me of some kind. Like
yeah,
they're getting a download, and they all seem to have the same kind of experience within this download. Like because they all talk about the same stuff, and I don't have any connection to what they're saying.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I've watched many, and not all of them have a life review.
No, but they all end up meeting an entity that convinces them
I did not.
to go back or that they need to fix or change or had a mission or It's like the same set of
Not all of them. Some of them just come back. I mean, I watched a lot. So
when they come back.
Most of them do. They meet somebody, uh, but there's a lot of them that just come back. They just come right back. They just shoot right back into their body.
Okay, but what is the catalyst for that? Like, why is that happening? Is it because they had an attachment, or is it because they didn't ask enough questions, or what about my person or this person, or I have a
Maybe
job
their body just didn't die all the way, probably. But one question I have for you, I think Maya, maybe, or Mia, what were these ones that came back without really talking to any beings? Do you remember if a lot of those cases, if they were in either like a white type of construct room or like a void, or what? What was it like? Would you say?
No, I mean not all of them go through a tunnel either. They go, some of them shoot right to wherever they say it's the galaxy, the cosmos, and some of them go through the tunnel. Some of them see a light, some don't. Um,
I saw the white light and I felt like the love bombing, and that's
the
all I
bliss,
remember of the whole thing. Talk to
yeah,
anybody or
most of them
anything.
see the bliss, feel the bliss, the love.
Yeah.
Um, but to answer your question, whoever asked the question, uh, I don't remember if they were in a room or uh, they just came right back, or it was very short. It was a very short NDE where some of them are very long. They
Elaborate.
meet somebody elaborate, somebody shows them things, um, or they go into a space where they say you created this space uh, just to make you feel comfortable right now where you are. Um, so they're different, but most of them, uh, I guess what's common about them is that they feel the bliss. Most of them say they feel bliss. They feel like they're in a place of just perfection. There's things that everything seems more real than here. Everything uh, they've see the flowers, the trees, even the grass and the flowers. They're singing. They're playing
Did
music.
that have anything to do with the DMT release they talk about at death?
What is that?
Apparently, that's what they say, that we have a massive release of DMT, which is psychedelic, you know, whatever. But that's what I'm understanding or hearing.
But most of them
But
are when some of them they can't. I guess you can't have that because some of them are brain dead. They're literally dead. Their brain is dead. They're in a coma.
but the brain is a construct of this construct. Keep that in mind. So
Right.
if we're DMT,
So is
be a
DMT.
physical, yeah, exactly. DMT is a physical attribute of this place. So for it to be released, just like semen retention or blah blah blah, all the other things, it's a physical nature of this place. It's I equate it to, I used to watch my son play the game Fortnite, and there'd be this boogie bomb that you could throw out when a player was like in conflict with another player and they were shooting each other. And the boogie bomb would be like of course, it's like a disco ball. It's made of mirrors, and it would shoot off all these different lights. But the player that threw it at the other opposing player, it would make the opposing player kind of just dance and not be able to shoot or heal itself, while the other player who threw it would be able to take them down. It seems like a last inch effort to me. And it goes back to awareness. If you're aware of the DMT release, then you can say, this is not who I am. This is not real. This is not, because these drugs, the ayahuascas, the DMTs, the weed, the marijuana, the mushrooms, they're all constructs of this place. And I partly get some of this information from Lolita Caroli, who I respect in many ways, that these infiltrations, these hijackings are pretend mushrooms are coming from a different realm into the earth realm to help even confuse us more, or marijuana that keeps you in your own bubble of looping. These are all things to distract us from going outside of all of it.
Or inside.
What I would say is,
the key is inside.
It could
Right,
give you
can
an
you have the
experience inside
DMT
the
if your brain
DMT.
if your brain is not functioning? You can't have that physically happen to you, right?
Not physically, but there are other levels of our body, right? We have at least a 3-body problem here.
Yep.
And there's probably something in the mental plane, a frequency or something that will mimic DMT. DMT is a tool. They always say that these plants are medicines. No, and tools. They're a tool like a microscope to focus in on say that dimension or that frequency, right? So, and it can get distracting if you're looking at it from the former perspective and get until you gain some focus in that frequency. Just a thought.
No, it's a good thought. Absolutely.
Can you explain that three body problem thing?
Oh, that's just a science fiction series that they put the first book onto a TV series.
Oh, it's a book.
Really good science fiction, and it kind of parallels what's going on physically around here, or my assumptions.
Yeah, I don't watch TV. I don't have one, so.
All about it goes back the same thing. It goes back to the split, like the astral body, or the physical body, the astral, and the etheric body. Okay, so the physical can't observe the astral can't observe the etheric, or in Anne Marie's model, the virtual, being the physical, can't observe the light body, being the astral, who can't observe the spark that may be in the pod, which would be the etheric. Or you can look at it as positive, negative, neutral. It's the same. The through lines are the same. You could look at it as the root chakra, the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the red, green, and the blue. It's all 3-body problem. And to correct that, to go back to wholeness, you have to align all 3 of those problems. And you see, that's why there's the 33rd degree Mason. There's the Jesus died at 33, the 33 vertebrae. It's all the same. It's all within the same thing.
What I would say is you're probably right about aligning those 3. The root, what did you say? The heart and the throat chakra or energy zones. But I would think that would activate the samadhi state and or the 4th state, as the other lady called it. Because when you described the 4th state, which I had never heard until she mentioned it, it sounded just like samadhi, and I actually had that experience when I was 33. So pretty weird, pretty interesting. Yeah.
I was 33 in 1984.
Oh, stop it, Kat.
I swear to God.
I was negative 1 in 1984.
I was born in 1951, so do the math.
You sound like you're in your 30s, which is a very big attribute for true beings, because we don't really get past our 30s when it comes to our energy and our vibrations and our resonance. It's like we just have a 30-year-old ability to us. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's the other thing on the NDEs. That's what they say. They see their loved ones. If they see their loved ones, they're in their 30s. It's funny you say that, because I just thought about that. That they haven't aged, or their grandfather died, or their grandmother. They see them like in their 30s. They're young.
Maybe they're appearing in their preferred form, like a youthful, healthy form of what they look like. That makes sense.
I just don't see,
I was in my 30s when I had that NDE experience too.
If I were to die today, and I saw my parents and they were in their 30s, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing here? There's no way you would sit here and wait on me. Like my questions would go so deep that eventually they're going to say, okay, this guy is not going to stop asking questions. Let's get him out of here. That's how I see that. Because I don't know that I couldn't stop asking questions. I was like, I'm calling bullshit on all of it. Let me out.
All right, who's the person that you're referring to? You're saying Anna Marie? Who are
Oh,
you?
her name's Anne Marie Eber. Here, I'll type it on the screen so you can see it.
Uber. It's
Okay.
Uber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she pronounces it Eber.
Oh, does she? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is
I
there
never,
like a, does
I
she have
never
like a
heard it
link?
said.
I can give you a link, but I can tell you the channel right here.
Okay.
So her name's Anne Marie Eber. That's how she pronounces it. It looks like Uber, but she's on Truth Meter.
Okay, Truth Me. Okay.
That's on YouTube, and she's on
And
Odyssey
Telegram.
and Telegram. Yep.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, I don't know what it is, but Jared and I have talked about it. Kat and I have talked about it. DW, a few others, and when she talks on interviews, she does sound crazy to the normal person, but everything that she says makes
It's my kind of crazy.
exactly. It's like okay, she's inviting me to the party, and the party I want. I don't know how to say it, but like DW said, it's my kind of crazy. It makes sense to me. But
It resonates with you.
yeah, she talks about the Tesseract. She talks about the world stuff. She talks about Morgellon. You name it, she mentioned it.
Okay.
And so
I gotta check her out.
yeah, you check her out on Odyssey because all of her videos are on Odyssey. Because she took down a whole lot of them from YouTube because she was getting attacked.
Okay. Odyssey is that another app?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's like Rumble and all that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Brand Wallace is on there too. Has she been putting out anything lately?
You said Renee or Greg Wallace?
Sabrina?
Oh, Sabrina?
Yeah, Sabrina's on Odyssey. That's where all of her stuff is. They also have a big Telegram archive of all of her stuff and a whole bunch of people related to her.
I'm not on Telegram. So.
Yeah, Sabrina, she's up there. I mean, her mind is like
Well,
Her
her
stuff,
physical, her
the first time I listened to her, I had to listen to the video three.
yeah, no,
Everything she was putting out is like, and if I have to do that, I can imagine what it'd be like for someone just new to the whole thing. Like, wow,
totally above.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm
my
an IT guy.
intelligence
I
level.
understand it.
You're a what?
An IT guy.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I used to be into computers before the pandemic retired me.
Just be careful with Sabrina because a few videos she's very knowledgeable and all the good stuff, but you'll see at the very end of her videos, some of them, she'll start like praising the Lord, Savior, God, Jesus, all those things.
I never heard her do that.
Wow. It's there.
I was starting to question her, not even knowing that. Something was suspicious of her for whatever reason, and I still don't know what it is.
Well, it's the fact that she's family, she's augmented. She's coming from a place like, say, a super soldier would come from. She has all this great information. I only trust the information on the physical level because I can verify everything she's saying on the physical level about W-band and that. That is a truth that rings to me here. But her spiritual stuff, that's influenced by her family, by her position, by her role, by what she has to do in her own head.
She's part of this group. To me, this is my own personal detective works, but in the last 12 months, there has been a group of people that have come into the truther community, and they all talk about ascension. They talk about, I've been awake for 35 years. I'm just not coming out. It's the same attributes. And this is just a list of a few names I'm mentioning, but they all do the same thing. It's almost like a distraction. Secret space program, my lab. They really don't even talk about being targeted or handled. Handled's a better word. They don't talk about being handled, but they all have Patreon's books. You can only find me here. I know all the truth. They have a certain charisma to them.
When I start seeing that, it's a red flag for me.
Absolutely, Kat, and that's what I've seen.
Another I always thought it was suspicious when these like people and I guess the so-called truth community don't really talk about the whole gang stalking thing or being like a TI or whatever, like the targeting and the artificial synchronicities and stuff, because it's there, it's projected into the experience around you. I know, like it is, man.
Yeah, and what DW just posted was absolutely fact. He said that it's a script reorganizing itself to distract the true souls, which is back to the self-correcting universe. It's trying to figure us out, and it can't, so it's trying to keep up. So it keeps putting these implants with all these stories, all these experiences, and every one of those people on that list there have gotten a lot of interviews recently on channels that are smaller. It's I don't want to be TSM here, but like it's very telling.
Me, yeah, I thought so.
So,
yeah, like in the past, well, before the purge of YouTube, I call 2015 the purge. They were all in total control, but they knew that there were going to be a whole bunch of people waking up. So they had to change their script. Some people went into hiding, some people became out this, and some people came out that, and others were just activated for this awakening stage, I think. So I think it's just part of the script.
I do too. You're spot on, man. Spot on. All right, guys, it's getting close to 4:00. It's 3:38 here where I'm at. We've been going for like an hour and a half or so. So if we want to close it up, that'd be cool. If we want to say any final words or leave us with intriguing thoughts and questions, that'd be cool too.
I just want to reiterate the fact that, okay, we're all here together. We all have no idea what we're doing, but we know we have to do something. So we should start putting out random suggestions about what kind of things that maybe others can help us with in our lack that they might be willing to give, and maybe some of our strengths that we might be able to give. And I don't know where to do that, where we can centralize that, but we don't want to really be central either, too, because that's predictable as well. So just saying that too. So I loved it today. So yeah, thanks guys.
I was going to put forward on the same token as he was saying with the unpredictability. If I'm going to actually try to start incorporating unpredictability into my daily, routines, like change up the routine, meaningful randomness, meaningful unpredictability, but it's that subconscious programming of years of doing things certain ways. You got to change it up. So it might be kind of hard.
Okay, here's a thought. What'd you say, Kat?
So it's not Groundhog Day every day.
So, no, you're right. And once he starts changing things, things start getting weird, right? So, I know this is gonna sound tough to do, but it's like when you eat dinner, you have a fork in the right hand or a knife in the left hand, however you do it. Just start trying to reverse those little things, like where you keep your glass on your table, or like what time you wash your clothes, even where you sleep. It's all of it. Just try and do things differently and just think outside of the box, if you will. And
that would train you to be ambidextrous better. That would change up the programming of your algorithm. That makes sense in a way.
Just try to do things differently. You know, if you eat yogurt and you put yogurt in a bowl and you throw your berries on top and you throw your granola on top, okay, well, let's do it the reverse of that. Let's throw granola on the bottom, then berries, then yogurt, or anywhere in between, right? Just those little things. It's almost like when you eat a slice of pizza, you eat it either from the crust or from the point. Okay, what if I eat it from the side? And just see, I know it sounds silly. Trust me, I know it does. but just try those little things and see what happens. And
Well,
Variety is the spice of life.
theoretically, if you did those small changes enough and kept
Mess with
changing
AI.
them, it would throw off the AI that we're theoretically saying is mapping our projection in space time. It would make it have to recalculate.
if their goal is order out of chaos, then why wouldn't we go back to chaos in its eyes? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Back to chaos. Back to something it can't recognize, that it's trying to recognize. Bringing in the nothingness into this never-ending story, which is what they're afraid of.
Let's make it go crazy. I have a quick question, and I don't know if this is. I don't want to start another discussion, but what do you guys think about deja vu? Is that the same thing as the Mandela?
I think deja vu is you recognizing you've been on this timeline before, but you're breaking free from it by doing something differently.
I have a lot of that.
Do you really? I've only had it.
I have a lot of that all the time. It's very freaky. I was telling my husband, I go, I've done this before. I've said this before.
You know, Mia, I said that to my wife, and then she slapped me with divorce papers. So just
What?
be like literally.
No.
I went from like a good living life to homeless within a week, 10 days.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
No.
no.
Said that to her husband.
She called me crazy. She put me in a psychiatric ward.
Oh my God. No, my husband's like, no, thank God. No, I don't want to say God, because God is the God of this
You know,
universe.
right?
That he's no, he's on, we're on different travels,
Sure.
Oh,
but
no.
but we're still, we're in sync. So he's not gonna slap a divorce up. No. So no, he says you probably lived it before. You probably
Possibly.
did it. You probably did it, and you're just recognizing that, you know, but I get it all the time, and it's very freaky. I go, I said this already.
It's something that's trying to keep you in line, is what it is.
Well, one thing to consider about the deja vu is it could be as simple or as truthful potentially as the Matrix movie, where they said when the agents change something, you get a deja vu. So I don't know if it ties into Mandela, but it's possible.
It could be a way of waking up too. You're realizing, wait a second, I did this before. How was that possible? So, in a way, you
If you were
recognize.
gonna if you were gonna leave yourself a message to get you out because you were stuck in a loop, how would you do it?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's a great one. Yeah, that is great. Like a
I keep
clue.
pondering that all the time
Like a
and looking for
clue.
my own clues. Yeah,
Yep. Like the little crumbs. You left crumbs.
absolutely.
That's a great one. All right.
All right, guys, I'm going to close this one out. Anything else?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nope. Let's try to get out of here because I don't want to come back again.
Yeah.
I
Thanks.
don't-
Yeah, don't
Thank you
don't
all.
wave hello to me on my way out of here.
Yeah. We're going somewhere.
I'm
All right,
out of
guys.
here.
And
All right.
Good.
And fast. Okay, take care.
Take care. Bye.